Hi, Nick Collier here, and this is my shop. Come join me. We'll have some fun. Well, good morning. Nick Collier here, and I don't know, for about the last 3 weeks or month, we've been working on the shop press project, if you've been following along. And we're going to have to put that project aside for now because here's another one coming down the pike. I've been waiting for this guy to get his little ducks in a row for, I don't know, 2 or 3 months now. It's a pretty exciting project. If his invention works, he's going to sell it to NASA, of all things. I can't really tell you what it's going to do because that I'm kind of hogtied over, at least that information. But I'm going to show you how I'm going to build it. And coming up is a couple of pictures. And the wood splitter frame that has been sitting in here for, I don't know, a month or two is finally out the door, and it's going to be put on the back side of the property, and hopefully my wife won't complain too much about it laying around. And now we have got, and I'm going to spin us around, we have got an entire workspace freed up. So we're going to start by, and I think what I'm going to do is just go ahead and set this up and let her rip. And I'll start cutting wood, and we've got to make a table first, and that's what that piece of plywood back there is all about. Once we get that, we'll go to the next step. Okay. So we've got a 6-foot circle going here, and what I need to do is split it up into 5 segments. So you could do the calculations, and I'm sure there's 19 people that can do that right this minute in their head, but I'm not one of those people. So the way I do it is mechanically. I go somewhere right around there. There's 1, there's 2, 3, 4, and 5, and we're about 1.5 feet short. So we'll take it out another few inches, do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 brings us within an inch or two of our mark. So that's pretty good. And then what I'm going to do is just measure my distance here. And we've got 42 inches. So that's how long my segments are going to be. Whoa, it's starting to hail. All right, let's go back over to the building site. Well, Nick Collier here, and it's day 2 on working on this bench. Well, not a whole day. I think I put an hour and a half into it yesterday afternoon, and I might have another hour into it today before I get it finished. So we're not talking about a whole day. I got to cut out all my pieces here, and hey, follow along. We're going to fast forward you through this part too, of course, but follow along. We're going to have some fun. Okay, so we got the first part of our project done. We built a table to handle this machine. So now we have to do some kind of layout so we can figure out where center is and that sort of thing. And we're going to go back to my mini compass and figure out where our center is. And I just kind of go from one corner to somewhat center. Maybe mark it. Another corner, mark that. And it looks like we're a couple inches short of our center. In fact, you know what? We could do it the other way. Now that we know somewhat where we want to be, let's try that. Pretty close. Way off. All right, let's try another approach. It'll be easier. Go from here. We're just going to eyeball center, which would be right about there. And we're going to just guess someplace in there. We'll go here. We'll eyeball center, and that should be right about there. Someplace right in there. Yeah, someplace right in there. So we got our center right in that spot there. All right, so the first thing I want to do is build just a small, just maybe a 2x4, rise it off of the tabletop. And we okay, our measurement is 2 foot 9 inches, and so we're going to cut 5 pieces that long, and we're about halfway through this cut here. All right, so I've got a hole cutting saw, which works good for a center, and then we're going to just drop these in all 5 positions. I have some wedges here that'll, once I get it up onto the piece itself, we can just jam the wedge in here and it'll keep it from rolling. Well, Nick Collier here. Okay, it's been a couple of day break. I've had to do other things, and now I'm back to it and fairly excited. So what we've got here is we've got a 5-leg mechanism, and what he wants me to do is, because he doesn't know how stable this thing's going to be, and you'll see later on, there's some spinning things on this thing that are going to kind of throw it into who knows what. And he wants me to have these 5-foot legs and then also extend the legs out another couple of feet, just in case. So in order to do that, we need to be able to have sliders so that he can slide the leg out and extend it out for more stability. So what we're going to do is we're going to throw this leg, the larger leg, on the mill, and we're going to cut a slot right down the center of this, probably, 1.5 feet long, so that this tube, and then also eventually drill a hole in this tube, thread it, put a bolt in that, and then you can tighten the bolt and it'll sit here, or you can loosen the bolt and it'll slide out and extend the legs. So that's the first thing we're going to do. The other thing we're going to do, and let me go over and get it. We've got a piece of 2-inch pipe here, and that's going to go right in the center. That's going to be our main stability, and this pipe wants to butt up to this pipe fairly accurately. So while we're on the mill, we're going to go ahead and cut a radius on those 5 legs, so that they'll butt up against that 2-inch pipe nice and snug. So let's go over to the mill and get started. Okay, so we're going to take this and run it 18 inches. And I'm going to think we're going to start about 2 inches in, right there. And so that would be 20. And this is 2. So there's our measurement. We want to find center. So we're going to do the crisscross method. Whoops. Let's spin this at a different speed. That's better. Okay, we're just going to come across until we can find a square. That actually looks a little bit low, but I think we can center it out in that without too much trouble. Something about right there. We're not looking at super accurate, once again, just enough to give us a reasonable center. Now, we're going to travel this way, and whoops, hang on, we're banging up against you here. And come up as we go. There's 18. So we're going to just come back the other direction and just keep diving down, diving that bit down till it punctures through. And the wall is 90,000, so it's not going to take much. There it goes. Now, before we do anything else, let's come back and clean up this surface here. Just a little bit more. All right, now. Okay, so we've got 5 grooves cut, and so now we need to just come in and pull off the scrap stuff. There we go. Now come in and just put the file. And eventually it takes off that rough edge. Slide a tube in here, bring it up to about there, because it doesn't want to, it wants to be short at its shortest length, of course. And then bring that out to about there, and that's going to add a good extra 14 or 15 inches to the distance of it. I like it. So this is where we want to drill our hole, and we're going to drill and tap a hole into this this tube here, and we'll get that set up and be right back. Okay, we're going to drill this with a number 7 drill bit, but because I haven't got it center punched or anything like that, I'm going to come in with a center drill first and get my line. Well, first thing I got to do is raise this table. Make sure we're pretty even, and we are. So then just drill that little center hole. And I'm going to go over and get the other 4 pieces and do it to all of them. All right, so then we'll just come in and mark all of them. Not real accurate, it doesn't have to be. Somewhere close. All right, it's going to be pretty easy to tap these holes, one would hope. Straight through. Okay, so we've cut our plugs, and I come in and I'm going to cut a shoulder in the plug, and we'll go ahead and do that now. I'm just going to split the difference between the what's holding it and what's out there in the open air. And then we'll crank her up. Touching. Now we're going to go back and we're going to take about 80 thousandths to get underneath that sludge. don't think you can see what's going on. How about that? That's better. Take it in about 60 thou. Crank it across. We're just going to line it up here because it doesn't have to be super accurate, it just wants to be close. That's that. All right, if I'm thinking correctly, we've got 2 more to do, but I don't have the interior size yet, so we'll just kind of let those sit for the moment. And we'll come back. All right, so we've got our diameter, our press diameter finished. Now I need to come back and clean up this pretty corroded exterior. So we're just going to do not a skim cut, but just pull off some of that rust. All right, since we're here, let's just spin this around, put it in, and we're going to come back and just do just a slight little chamfer on that one little corner right there. Let's trade bits out. Well, that's not going to make it. There we go. Okay, now that we've got that, we're going to spin this completely around. And you know what? Notice how bell-mouthed my jaws are, my chuck. I think I'm going to put my other chuck in here to do this next part, just to get it a little more accurate. Okay. And we'll come back in a few.